Before you go and make the big purchase and buy your first home, there are a few things that you do need to know before you do that. And unfortunately, nobody really tells you. Hi, my name is Jose. I'm a realtor with RE/MAX here in the Inland Empire in Southern California. And well, if this is your first time to the channel, first of all, welcome. Always honored to have you here. In fact, be sure to hit the subscribe button right down over here. And then also don't forget to hit the bell too. This way you don't miss any future content where I talk about buying, selling, and of course, living here in the Inland Empire. First up, hidden costs. Okay, maybe they're not necessarily hidden costs, but they are costs that unfortunately far too many first-time buyers, they just don't think about, such as, for example, property taxes. This is a cost that, I mean, honestly, it really can vary. It all depends on where did you buy your house. In other words, it can vary from one city to another. It can vary from one county to another. Speaking of taxes, there's also special assessment taxes. Now, special assessment taxes are not on every house, but they can be added to some taxes. And what they are is they're added on top of the property taxes for the house. Now, the reason for a special assessment tax, that honestly, they're designed to help pay for things such as the construction of sewers, or maybe the construction of sidewalks, or maybe the construction of parks. Honestly, there's any number of reasons why a house might have a special assessment tax. And again, like I said, they're not on every house. In fact, honestly, there's probably less houses that would have a special assessment tax than do. But if a house does have a special assessment tax, fortunately, it's only usually attached to the house for a set number of years after the house was built. In other words, they usually expire. There's also homeowners insurance. Now, however, if I'm being real honest with you here, of all the hidden costs, this one's probably one of the smaller ones, at least in most cases anyway. It's usually not too big of a cost. The other hidden cost though, maintenance costs.
Dryer's broke again. Yeah,
whether it's one of the appliances that goes out, or maybe the air conditioner unit, it needs to be repaired, or maybe it's just, general maintenance things like, maintaining the painting, or maintaining the landscaping, or the sprinklers. Yeah, there's one that's usually pretty good at keeping most homeowners busy. Don't make the mistake of not being prepared, not planning ahead for some of these hidden costs. Next is financing options. I get it. I'm sure I'm not about to teach you anything right here when I say that as a home buyer, especially as a first-time home buyer, you're going to need a home loan. But how familiar are you with the different types of home loans that are available? You have the FHA home loan, not the only home loan option, but at least in my opinion anyway, definitely a pretty good option, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. There's also the conventional home loan. You also have the VA home loan for veterans, and another one that honestly it doesn't get talked about very much, but another home loan option is the USDA home loan. This home loan is honestly, it's pretty similar to the VA home loan, meaning the USDA home loan has a 0 down payment requirement. However, there is a catch. Yes, yeah, believe it, right? I mean, unfortunately, there is a catch to it. To use the USDA home loan, the home that you're purchasing, it must be in what is a designated rural location. And believe it or not, yes, there still are some rural locations around here. Not if you're looking right in the heart of the Inland Empire and I don't know, Rancho Cucamonga or something. You're not going to find rural locations there. But yes, there are still some rural locations in and around the Inland Empire. In fact, actually, here's a great playlist. I would definitely catch this next, where in that playlist, I talk about some of the more common loan options that are available, some of which I actually just mentioned to you right now, but I cover both the good and the bad of each one of those, the pros and the cons. I would definitely catch that one next. One more thing I do want to cover here, and that is down payment assistance. Actually, I probably should call it buyer assistance, because there's actually programs out there that will help you not only with the down payment, but they'll also help you with closing costs. But this is definitely something as a first-time home buyer, you should definitely explore this because, listen, if you could get help with the down payment and maybe even with the closing costs too, but if you could get that, I mean, this could potentially make a huge difference in how much money has to come out of your pockets in order to purchase your home. Of course, though, there is a catch. I mean, there are qualification requirements for them. Not anything over the top, not even close. But yes, there are qualification requirements for them. In fact, here's a great video. I would definitely catch this one next. If this is something that you want a little bit more information, I take a complete deep dive into some of these programs as well as the requirements for some of these buyer assistance programs. Number 3, the home inspection. I absolutely cannot tell you just how important this one is when buying a home. This is your chance to find out as much as humanly possible about that house before you finalize the purchase for it. Are there any electrical issues with the house, or what about the plumbing? How's that going? Or how about the roof? Are there any issues there? Or what about pest infestation? Listen, there's any number of things that can be discovered during a home inspection, and every once in a while, though, I have had a buyer, they're looking at the cost for a home inspection, which, listen, that actually can vary depending on where you're at. But here locally, here in the Inland Empire, you're looking at, I don't know, probably $400, maybe $500 on average for a home inspection. But in my experience, they always find something that's not always necessarily noticed by the naked eye when you and your agent first walk through the house.
Uh-oh, this can't be good.
And before you start going down that road, yes, like I said, they do always find something. It's just that the something that they find, most of the time, it's usually something small. I mean, it's just that even if it's small, even if what they find is, I don't know, insignificant, still, at least now you know everything that's going on about that house before you go and complete the purchase, before you commit yourself to paying all that money. Number 4, location. Where exactly is the house?
Location, location, location.
Now, let me just say though that choosing the right location for your home, that is a very personal decision that, well, really comes down to your needs and your preferences. I just want to make sure that you do keep in mind that it can have an influence on the future value of your home. Yeah, because there may come a time, whether that's 2 years from now or 22 years from now, but there may come that day when you decide, yep, it's time to move. The question now becomes, how did the value of your home do? Things like what kind of stores or shopping do you have around the house? Are they very far, or do you have them fairly close to the house? Or what about the noise level? You know, do you live on a main street, or do you have maybe like a main street that's right behind the house, or maybe you have a freeway that's right behind the house? These are all things that can, potential anyway, but they can have an influence on the appreciation value of your house. Next up on the list, future plans. Oh, okay. This one, it probably can be a little tricky to add this one to the list because, I mean, who can accurately predict what the future holds?
Show me, oh magic crystal ball.
But do you have any plans of starting a family or maybe expanding your current family? That could potentially affect things. Or what about work? Do you have any anticipation of making any job changes or maybe any potential relocations coming up in the near future? That could potentially affect things too. I mean, you don't want to buy a home, move in, and I don't know, a couple years later, you're like, oh great, things changed, let's sell the house. If you have a pretty good feeling, a strong hunch that you probably may not be planning on staying in the home for at least, and this is just my personal opinion on time frame, but at least say the next, 5 years, I might not buy the home. The reason I say that is because if you do sell the house in, I don't know, let's say the next couple years, you do decide it's time to move, let's sell the house, there is a chance that you could end up losing a little bit of money on that sale. Or let's say you lived in the house for a year and a half, you sold the house, and hey, guess what? You didn't end up losing any money. Well, if you were able to make a profit from that sale, you could end up finding yourself paying capital gains tax on any of the money that you made from the sale of your house. Of course, all of that will depend on just how much money you did actually make, but after you've lived in the house for 2 years, that whole capital gains things, that changes. I know I've already done this to you a couple of times. Last one, I promise. But there's a great video you definitely should catch next where I talk more about capital gains tax and how it's different before or after 2 years of living in the house. And of course, when you buy a house, you've got home ownership responsibilities. Oh yeah, there's definitely responsibilities that come with owning a home. Kind of talked a little about this one earlier, and that is the ongoing, never-ending maintenance responsibility that comes with owning a home. Examples of this might be cleaning the rain gutters out once a year, or changing the air filters in the air conditioner unit, or we talked about this one too, and that is the sprinkler systems in the yard. I'm telling you, there always seems like you have a sprinkler head that went out, or at minimum just needs readjusted. Or maybe you have a leak under one of the sinks in the house, or maybe you have a gopher in the yard, or... Okay, I'm gonna cut it off right there because I'm sure you get the point. The bottom line is there's always gonna be maintenance and upkeep that comes with owning a home. Oh, and we can't forget about the unexpected. And what do I mean by that? What if the water heater goes out? I'm sure that's something you're going to want to take care of pretty quickly. Unless, of course, you're one of those that enjoys cold showers. Or what if the air conditioner goes out? I mean, they will do that over time. Listen, the bottom line is every one of these that I mentioned here, I mean, they can add up. You definitely want to try to be as ready as, well, as possible anyway for the just in case. Of course, though, if you do have any questions about anything I covered here, maybe you are thinking about buying a home here or around the Inland Empire, my contact information is below. Otherwise, I talked a little bit about this earlier, and that is the home loans, or the FHA home loan more specifically, because if you're a first-time home buyer, at least in my opinion, the FHA home loan is a great home loan to definitely dive a little deeper into, explore a little bit more. And if that's you, there's the video to catch next, because that's exactly what I do there. I dissect and explain the FHA home loan for you. Either way though, feel free to reach out. I'm always here to help.